if all of your properties are ineligible, they would simply say so and you move on with your life. So to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer. They may as well be assessed, particularly as there is no contribution from you as landlord or tenant. All works are fully funded. And some tenants have had significant works. So that, I think, hopefully is a little bit more positive this evening. That whilst we will have this new legal requirement, something we can do, as I've described, is we can take advantage of this grant that's there. So feel free to reach out if you'd like us to have a look at your property. We can certainly do that for you. Baxter, do you have anything that's come up over the last few sections that you need to raise?
There has been no questions as of yet, but the links have been posted in. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much. That's good. Well, I'll keep going. I may stop in a second because I've just realised that I foolishly didn't put the laptop on charge whilst I started the presentation. So I may well just move slightly in a second just to get some power. But a couple of, I won't say insignificant points, but a couple of points to mention that I think should concern us less. But there will be the introduction of AWAB's law. You may be familiar, this is an immensely sad story, but this was a child who died in not a private rented home, but a housing association home. And the young child actually died as a result of dampened mould in the property. So prolonged exposure. And it's really raised awareness of the issue of damp and mould in properties. So if you are in the social housing sector, this piece of legislation already exists. But the suggestion is that it will come to the private rented sector. And what it does at the moment, if damp and mould is reported in one of our properties, there's a very ambiguous requirement. We have to deal with this, but there isn't really a set timescale. There's no clear guidelines. It's just that as landlords, we have to respond, we have to act, but no particularly clear or defined timescale under which we have to take the required actions. This legislation will correct that, and it replaces quite specific timelines on us. So if something's reported, it gives us timelines when we have to respond, when we have to attend, when we have to investigate. So it actually gives a little bit more clarity, but it is going to put more emphasis on landlords' work in terms of damp and mould. And I can't say too much about this because it's early days, but we personally are looking at it's a damp and mould monitor device that almost looks like a smoke alarm, and we think that might be part of the solution that we can fit in properties. They're not particularly expensive, and we might start suggesting a fitted to monitor the humidity in properties. But certainly this legislation will require us to be more mindful and sort of timely in our response as landlords to the damp and mould issue. But I think there'll be things we can, there'll be more things like I've described that we can do to mitigate that, and we will implement those as we go. They have also talked about the decent home standard. Now, decent home standard already exists, again, in the social housing sector. As private landlords, we would normally talk about the Housing Health and Safety Rating System, which is HHSRS. But basically, I'm going to look these two together. Really what they're describing is the property of a fit and proper standard to be less and to have the tenant there. So let's call them whatever we want. That is the crux of what this is getting at. I'm going to be honest, I think for all landlords and tenant tonight, it's probably not something we need to be scared of, because I don't think we would let a property that didn't meet those standards